Hey guys.
What's going on, Masgary?
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've had a couch conversation. We actually saw it in the comments from a new subscriber. So we said, yeah, now that we have a little bit of downtime and we're not up in the air, let us take it back to the couch.
Let's do it.
So you want to do a little intro for those who maybe don't know us or are new to us? Just for old time's sake.
Can I remember? Damn, I don't remember. For those of you new here, my name is Brian, and this is my husband.
Right? Both fiance, husband, Alec.
It's been a long time. We've done a sit down since we got married. It's just been so long.
Yeah, it's been a little while though. But today we thought we would hop on and we would talk about something that I think is extremely relevant for us. Now that we've been going this whole relationship thing for a few years. We've been together for 3.5 years. We've been married now for a little bit over a year. And today we're going to be talking about relationships versus friendships. Yeah.
It's going to be a touchy topic.
You think so?
Yeah, just because I think it's new for our friends and us too. It's a new space that we're navigating, and like some things have been thrown around here and there, so it'll be interesting.
Well, today in particular, what it is that we want to touch on is, do relationships in general affect our friendships? And we can look at this two ways. We can look at with ourselves, like, does our relationship affect our friendships? Or you can also look at it from the other perspective, where maybe your friends' relationships, how you navigate that space being the friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to tease your brain,
All right.
I gotta make things a little bit more difficult than they need to be sometimes.
Just a tad bit.
So, first thing, do you think that you being in a relationship changes anything for you?
Yes. Definitely my priorities have changed. My priorities have always been different from my friends because I'm the only one of my friends that has a child. But that didn't stop me from being able to go out and have fun with them still. You know what I mean? But being married now, things just changed. I can't do what single people do.
Like what?
Be out all night, not come home the next day, like put myself in certain situations that I know I shouldn't be in. Like if there's somebody there who I know may have the eyes for me, I just shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? Like if it's just certain things that you shouldn't do when you're in a relationship, married. Let's just say married. Yeah.
And I think it's funny that you mentioned married, because I think for me, had you asked me this question before I was married, my answer might had even been a little bit different, because I feel like the whole married part of things, it really ups the game in terms of just how serious everything is, because now it's not just a relationship, it's bigger than that. It's you have a joint life together, joint finances.
It's legally binding. Yeah, it's a little different. It doesn't diminish
just being in a relationship at all. Yeah. Right. So I'm not at all am I trying to say that. It's just that I'm put in a different headspace, because for me, being in a marriage encapsulates a few other things that before, when I was I've been in relationships before where I've lived with the person, but it still was a little bit different than the interaction that I have now.
Yeah.
But to answer the same question, it has definitely changed things for me. I think in my case, it's a little bit different on my end, being that when I got married and being in this relationship, I moved everything. So it really did change a whole lot for me. But in general, I think being in a relationship, especially in the beginning stages, when they say that, the young love and the fresh love, it changes things for most people.
Yeah.
I feel like every person only has a certain amount of energy to give. And once you put another important factor amongst other important factors, it's only natural that you're only going to have so much energy to expound in that area, being friends, because now it's going to be divided with somebody else. And now in my case, being divided between not only a husband, but also a child. Yeah. So I think that part, especially the child, was a huge layer that I didn't anticipate how that would change things. Yeah. So it definitely changed a whole lot for me.
Okay, that's understandable. I mean, also, I guess it's different for you being that you left your friends in Jamaica to come here. How do you think it would have been if they were living in the same space?
If they were living in the same space, I think it would make things easier in terms of us being able to connect, because they would just be able to come over to the house and be able to chill. And something like that to me is still intimate time that you have with friends. You don't necessarily need to be doing anything, and we would still be able to do that. Me moving, we've had to change the way that we interact altogether.
Yeah.
I used to spend most, if not all, of my weekends with the friends that I was close to. We lived minutes away from each other. And now, it's an occasional FaceTime check-in. So even like today, when they called me when the whole moving situation, that meant a lot to me, because it was a way to still be involved even if I'm not there. Yeah, but I think things would definitely be different if we were in the same country, much less in the same city. Okay, well, do you think that you being in a relationship has changed the way that you interact with your friends in particular?
No. I
No?
still interact the same way. Nothing's changed on that front. It's just, I don't know. Would you say interact? Could that mean like going out and stuff like that
Yeah,
too?
it includes that too.
So then, yeah, I guess it has changed. It's changed a lot. Because like you said, you would see your friends every weekend. Most weekends I would do the same. But being married, like I said, my priorities have changed. And it's like, I think it's a little deeper on my end, because I don't feel comfortable leaving you. Like, you're my best friend as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, whenever I go out, I want you there. But at the same time, my friends deserve time with me by myself too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's a hard place to navigate, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I get that. And I mean, to further support your point, I think that one thing, because we've had this conversation before with each other, but one thing that I think you've never really mentioned in terms of how it impacts your relationship with them too, is the fact that you know my struggles and the things that I deal with personally in terms of feeling disconnected from general society and people. And I think that also in part makes you feel somewhat guilty, even though you're not the cause. And because of that, you don't want to leave me alone, or you feel like if you're going out for the weekend, you're leaving me here to once again be by myself, so you don't want to do that.
That's absolutely what it is, because it's a miserable place to be. Like, you left everything to come here to be with me, friends and all, friends, family, job, everything. So we've talked about how you felt alone and how you're confined to this house all the time. So it's like, why, when I have some free time, not spend that free time with my husband? So it just puts me in a weird space, and it's not like, because if I leave, I take the car, so it's not like you can even get out the house
If I wanted
if
to.
you wanted to. So it puts me in a very guilty space.
And I get that. And the thing is by no means have I been the person to tell him, don't go, don't do this, don't do that.
You've always told me, you've encouraged me to go.
Yeah, I've encouraged him to go. But I also do see the flip side of it. And I think that, sometimes friends don't see all of the factors. They definitely do see, yes, I want to spend time with him and whatever. And again, he said that it's something that he's working through, we're working through, how to be able to find that balance.
Yeah.
But it definitely has changed things. I think you kind of answered my next question, which was, do you feel pressure to carry me along with you every time that you're going out? So you answered it a little bit.
A little bit. I touched on it, but no, I don't feel pressure, because I want you there. You know what I mean? Like, there's no pressure at all. I think the pressure will come with me leaving you here by yourself. You know what I mean? I feel like that's where the pressure will come in, because then I'll be outside, like at the place, like texting you the whole time, like, you okay? You need me to bring something when I come back home? Like, I would not enjoy myself because I'm going to be focused on you and all of the things here.
Mm-hmm.
So
The funny thing is that I've been out with Brian's friends by myself.
yeah,
More so than he has.
yeah,
Because to be honest, the last 2 years, I've really interacted with his friends more so than anyone else. And they're particular ones that I've formed individual relationships with where it's not that we're just talking about Brian and I, you know, it's more than, or it's deeper than surface level relationship, I guess,
Yeah.
with them. So I have been able to go out by myself without him, which I think is the funny part. But for me to answer that question, not necessarily being in my current situation, I don't feel like it's pressure either. Do I always want to bring my person out with me wherever it is that I'm going with my friends? I do. And I feel like why that is, especially in the early stages, is because you're able to see me in my natural habitat. And by you coming out with me, that's me, one, sharing a part of myself, which is very important to me, by introducing you to my tribe. And then two, it's also seeing how you fit in that picture that already exists. And I feel like that's extremely important too, for me to be able to decide, is this somebody that I see myself spending a future with? You know, I think especially in our early stages where it was the long distance, and not only long distance, but cross-cultural, which that part even now still exists.
Yeah.
It's bringing you into my space, or the spaces that I probably go alone, or maybe I haven't been back to those spaces since, but I still want to carry them. So for example, Carnival, I know Brian's ass is gonna be hot as hell on those streets of Port of Spain, Trinidad.
Yeah.
But it's something I want him to be able to experience, because not because I just want to drag him and I want him everywhere with me, but because that is such a huge thing for me. I want him to be able to see how I revel in that joy, and hope that he also shares the same sentiment. The reality is, it may not be the case. It may not be for him, but at the end of the day, it still would have been something that I was able to share with my partner.
Yeah.
So, how important is it for you, for your friends to get along with who you're with?
I think that's I think it's very important. Because these are people that you're going to be around a lot. So I need you to be comfortable around them by yourself and with me there, all of that, because we're a family. My friendships are more family than they are friendships. So it is important to me that you get along with them. That almost didn't start out for one of them. Mike, oh my gosh. And it's a good thing he knows that. But yeah, it almost did not start off that way with him. But that's because he plays so much. You can't take him serious. But
I mean, I would say for a couple people.
really?
Yeah, because remember it was right here at that Friendsgiving that I decided I was going to go and talk to her.
Oh, yeah.
Because...
Oh, yeah.
Because I had already heard the business and what her thoughts were, and I was like, I'm going to change, or not necessarily change that impression. I didn't want her to judge me off of what she thought versus her actually knowing me as a person.
Yeah.
If you know me and you talk to me, you don't like me, it is what it is, you know? But don't
assume.
Yeah, don't put me to a stereotype, and then that's what you use to say who Alec is, you know? Yeah.
I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah, so it was for a couple. For me, again, yeah, same, extremely important. I think for most of us in the LGBTQ plus community, our friends are really like our family. And I would say almost to a greater degree, because with family, I find, yes, those are people that you deeply love, and you don't necessarily need to interact with them every day. So it's kind of easier to keep your love life separate from that of your family if you're thinking about parents, siblings, and all of that. But it's going to be very hard to keep your love life separate from your friends, because I kind of find them to be interacting at the same level in terms of how much of my time and energy that they get. So if it is that you didn't get along with friends, it would be very difficult, you know? And I know that for you in particular, it was hard at first, just because my friends also come from different cultural backgrounds too. And so you coming in, it was learning me, learning somebody else from Barbados. It was quite a bit in the beginning, and it definitely did take time. But I'm like very happy to see now that you guys are good.
Yeah.
You can hang out with them by yourself and be completely fine.
Yeah.
It's only when all of us are in a room together he can't understand everything that is being said.
That was the biggest problem. And I know me, and I know I have resting bitch face. So sitting back in a room, somebody from Barbados, somebody from Jamaica,
And
different
then-
parts of
yeah,
Jamaica
that's the
have
thing.
different accents. So it's like I'm trying to understand everything, and I'm trying not to have a confused look on my face, but it's coming across as WTF. Like I don't understand nothing that's going on, and it's like going fast and fast. Like, but I'm picking it up now. I think I'm getting it more. But that was a big issue in the beginning because I didn't feel included. Because I'm like, well, damn. It's like being in a space with Spanish people. They know you don't speak the language, but they speak it in front of you. You know what I mean? Like you don't have any, you can't communicate with them because you don't know the language.
Yeah.
So it felt kind of like that, but they're speaking English. So it's not, it was different, but yeah.
No, I get you completely, and I think that took me a while to understand as well, because as you guys would have seen in the last Jamaica video that we did, is like once I touched down on that rock called Jamaica, it's a whole other side that comes out. It's a whole different level of comfortability, especially when it is that you hear that accent from somebody else as well. But yeah, now Brian knows almost everything in patois and understands the different accents, and yeah, we're all good now. All good.
Yeah.
Would you say that it's easier or was easier for you to make friends while it is that you're single? Or let me change the way the question is framed.
Okay.
So do you think it's just as easy to make friends, new friends, being in a relationship as it was when you were single?
Damn, that's a good one. I think it's easier for me now to make friends because I have no ulterior motives. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't care about anybody else's, if that makes sense. Like, I'm more comfortable with myself. And it's funny because he makes me more confident and more comfortable with who I am as a person. So I don't feel nervous to talk to people now, if that makes sense. I'm still a little apprehensive. I don't trust everybody, but I feel like I can hold conversation a little better now. So making friends now is easier for me.
Okay, so I kind of pulled you out of your shell
A little bit, yeah.
And I think that this whole experience of like YouTube, us sharing these things as publicly as we do, probably has helped with that too. So for me, it's funny because for me, I think it's the complete opposite. But again, the circumstances are different. You have been living in Florida your entire life. You've been living in Orlando for a couple of years. Whereas for me, since being in my relationship, I've spent most of it somewhere else, being here. And most of the times when we go out, it's together. So when I'm out, like, there's no need for me to be going around trying to introduce myself to people.
But you do.
So, I mean, I don't introduce myself. Like, it'll be something that happens and then we end up talking, but it starts and ends there. It's not like there's a number exchange or we see each other again and then
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and then a friendship develops from there. It's an interaction and it starts and stops there. So when it is that we have developed friendships, it has always been mutual. It's been a situation where it's both of us that end up becoming friends with the other person or the other people. Yeah. So for me, it has definitely been harder. And again, a part of that too is that you're always thinking about like, what are these person's intentions? And, you know, it's different dealing with that when I was single because the buck starts and stops with you. You're the only person that's affected. Whereas now I'm always thinking about How is it that you're going to be perceiving it? How is it that that's potentially going to affect what it is that we have going on? Which is something that I'm extremely protective of, you know? So it's almost like, why chance it if it is that it potentially may work out negatively?
I feel like this is a huge barrier for foolishness for me. But once again, I don't have an approachable demeanor. Like I'm not the approachable one. He is. So people will probably test the waters with you before they do with me. So yeah, that's why I think my answer would be a little different, because you have an ulterior motive. You see this, you're not gonna try it. And that's been what it's been for the last year and some change.
Yeah.
Actually, almost 3 years. Because I've been wearing a ring for...
Yeah, because from when we were engaged, we were wearing rings. So, yeah, very, very true. So, do you find that it's easier being friends with couples versus singles?
Yeah. I do. I do, because I think you know with the couple what it is. You know what I mean? You know that there's no ulterior motives. You know what y'all have is what y'all have. It's a friendship.
And mind you, this is not only talking about necessarily new relationships. So not new friendships. It can be existing friendships too. So I don't want you to only think, is it easier to become friends with couples versus singles? But just in general, is it easier to be friends with somebody who is a part of a relationship versus one of your friends that's single?
I don't know how to answer that, because I feel like my existing friendships, it's not hard to be friends with them because they know and love you too. Probably a little more than me at this point. But Rasta is going through it in there. Maybe it's both. I don't know. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, there's pros and cons of each. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's easier, but if I'm to analyze my closest circle right now, we've been with each other in and out of several relationships. But I think that them being in a relationship, we connect in a different way. Me also being in a relationship. Because if it is a time to think, if any one of us was single at a time when somebody else was in a relationship, the interaction was definitely different. I feel like once you end up in a relationship, there's always that teething pain, because again, as I said, it's not that the energy increases and you're able to give energy here and then to your friends the same way. There is going to be a shift of some sort. But we've managed to still stay friends, and it hasn't affected us in any way. It creates tension at some point, but I also believe that the best relationships are those that are able to navigate tension in a positive way. So even when it has created an obstacle for us, it's something that we've always been able to work through. And it's just one of those things you have to get used to, like when it is that you're getting older. So I think that it's not necessarily easier for me to get along with couples, but for sure it's that there are different things that you relate with. Yeah. So I think that's the major difference for me.
Okay. That makes sense.
So I know that your friends have been your Judies for the longest while.
Yes, you know that.
Do you allow your friends to weigh in on your relationship? And if so, how much?
Weigh in on my relationships? On my relationship?
So when Alec is annoying you and Alec has pissed you off, do you go to your friends and tell them everything and like seek advice from your friends?
I seek advice in certain situations. I do not weigh in or go to them with all of our issues the way I would have in prior relationships, because I found that listening to everybody else does not help the situation. So I actually kind of deal with whatever issues we are having by myself. I don't talk to them about it. So no, I don't. But in situations where it's like when they want to go out and I'm explaining to them why I can't go out, then yes. Then, you know what I mean? It's certain things that we can talk about. If it includes them, absolutely. But if it's us, I keep that close.
Okay. For me, weigh in, again, the same that you said, like, weigh in. I don't allow my friends anymore to make decisions for me in relationships. I have been guilty of that in the past, in terms of having them kind of dictate the next step that I take, or how fast I move, or certain things like that. But I realized too that in the past that was probably needed. Like, I've been with people and they're like, you need to end that. I'm like, I'm gonna end it. 6 months pass and I'm still in a relationship. And they're like, we're not even gonna say anything to you anymore. And at that point I'm like, yeah, okay. So I feel like, especially friends that you've been with for so long, they really know you.
Yeah.
And they know you deeper than most others, and know when something serves you or it doesn't. So I have allowed them to weigh in the past. However, I've grown. And I think with growth has come that wisdom. And that's from lessons learned from them as well. So, you know, inherently, I feel like they still do have a word without having a word. But I don't run to them with all my problems. I think more so what it is that I do run to them with is when I feel like new levels of our relationship has been unlocked. So when it is that something has been a first or a milestone for me, like my first Father's Day and you know, stuff like that, first anniversary, it was just being able to be very vulnerable with them, and kind of bringing them along the journey of the relationship, not necessarily asking for advice. One thing I would say is extremely important though, is that whenever it is that you do have friends and you're sharing information or struggles or anything that you may be going through in your relationship, it's very important to share not only negatives but positives. Because I find more times than not, people tend to only come to their friends when it's something negative. And if that's the case, they're only ever gonna have a negative perception of your partner.
Exactly.
And I think that that is one of the things that I've managed to change the older that I've gotten, to ensure that when it is that my friends even do give me advice, it's not a one-way street. They're not just going based off of what I've told them. They're able to know the good and the bad about the person, through my eyes, of course. And they would have experienced it for themselves too, because that's, again, another reason why I think it's important for whoever my partner is to also exist in the world of my friends.
Okay.
So, now that we've gone through all these questions, can you answer which is more important, your friendships or your relationship?
So while my friendships are very important to me, like I said, my friends are my family, my relationship trumps that. Because you're going to be here when the dust settles. You see me behind closed doors. You know me better than anybody else at this point. So you take the cake. Like, yeah. You're yes.
Okay.
You got the ring for a reason.
Good to know.
You?
I mean, I think for me it's the same. Like, I've been so guilty in the past of putting my friendships above people I was dating, people I was in relationships with. And I've told you this before. This is how I knew that this was something different, is because I literally, from the beginning, from the first few days, was ready to give everything for this man right here.
Wow.
He met me at the right time in my life, because had it been a couple of years, previous couple of months, maybe even, it would have been a whole nother situation. But that also speaks to, you know, just how our spirits connect too. Not to diminish the value of my friendships at all. At the end of the day, I need both in my life
Yep.
forever.
Yeah.
The people that I have as close friends and are yesterday friends, you know, they've been in my life for a while, and I intend to keep it that way. So
Yeah.
they are super, super important, but you know, he does have a little step ahead for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
How do you feel? Were you grilled?
I was grilled. I wasn't expecting the beating you just gave me. But it was good. It was fun.
Okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video as well. If you did like it, show us some love by giving us a thumbs up, clicking that like button there. Share the video with somebody else that you think might enjoy this conversation as well. Also, weigh in the comments. Let us know if you feel like there are any questions that were left unanswered. If you have any questions, maybe you want to see a part 2. Drop them in the comments below, and we'll definitely do that. And if you haven't already, most importantly, if you have not already, do what?
Subscribe.
All right, guys. Same time, same place next week.
Bye.
Bye.